Welcome to another episode of Same Text, Different Font.
Hey everyone, I'm so happy to be here again. Just a caveat, I was super nervous last week, as most of you picked up on, only because this is my first time trying to do any sort of podcast material. But also, for those of you who really know me, I have no social media whatsoever. No MySpace, no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok.
Yeah. MySpace?
Yeah, I took it back to MySpace.
No one has MySpace anymore.
I'm just saying, it went all the way back till that, even then. So just finding the courage to put myself out there in this way has been very nerve-wracking. But I think the more we do it, the more comfortable I'll get, and I'm really just trying to have fun. Hopefully that gets better with time.
Yeah, now you can get a MySpace.
I wonder if they have MySpace anymore.
I don't think so. You remember Skonex?
No, I don't remember Skonex, but do you remember how Tom was everyone's friend on MySpace?
Yes.
Tom is today.
I think Skonex was the one, that might not even be it, but you would have like these little cartoon figures, remember?
No, I don't remember.
It's not cartoon figures, but people would make these like little things, and it was like, this was the time where girls were wearing like low-cut jeans, and
but those are like Britney Spears.
Yes,
things.
like that. Yeah. Yes.
I
like
still don't
that
remember
kind of
Skonex.
stuff.
I think she made.
Oh, anyways, just an update on our platforms and social media. We originally started with the intention of doing a podcast on Spotify, but we realized that some people don't use Spotify and it's not as common as I thought it was. We use Spotify, so I thought that was common. Due to that, we have now created a YouTube channel, so you can like, subscribe, and share is what my mom is telling me to say. So you can like, subscribe, and share on our YouTube channel. You can listen or watch us on Spotify, and you can also follow us on Instagram, where you'll find just like updated posts and stuff of what's going on with us.
Which we're going to talk all about here as well.
Yes.
Also, I want to mention that for everyone who watched, thank you so much for the feedback. We got some really great positive feedback, and we are very happy to announce that we take our feedback very seriously. We have this beautiful mic flipped to us, which I hope it's working well since it's our first time using it. And also, we look super bright. We have one of those circular ring lights.
It's a ring light.
Yeah, it showed up in my mailbox. I had no idea it was coming. So I guess the podcast gods must have sent it over to us.
So that must have been me.
Yeah.
Because I paid for it. So.
Yeah, well, I had no idea it was coming. I found it today, put it together real fast. Hopefully this has improved the quality of the podcast moving forward.
Let us know.
I'm sure they will.
Okay. You said you had some stuff that you wanted to talk about. So
I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that I encountered this past week at work. Every once in a while, I work night shift, and there are a lot of younger nurses working the night shift. They're all super sweet, very smart. I love them very much, as I do the day shift.
She's saying this because she knows that you're listening.
No, anyway. And they know I don't have MySpace and other such platforms. So they keep me updated. They keep me somewhat young, right? So they told me about the craze that's happening right now with these mini Trader Joe's tote bags. I had no idea that this was a thing. I can't really understand why it's a thing, but nevertheless, I went and got myself some tote bags. It was a process. Before I even got inside the store, there was a sign on the door saying, yes, we have the tote bags. They're back in stock. So I said, great, this is wonderful. So I knew this couldn't have been a thing where they just left it out because it would be mayhem. They had a whole entire employee safeguarding
a whole employee,
not
like half.
No, like a whole employee safeguarding the tote bags. And you couldn't just walk up there and say, hey, I want this and this tote bag. No, you had to get your items, get in the long line like everyone does, and when you go up to the cashier, that's when you have the opportunity to get yourself a tote bag. So then you go over to the whole employee and you say, I want this, that tote bag. They had 4 different colors. They're doing pastel colors right now, given the upcoming weekend. So they had pastel pink, purple, green, and blue. But you're limited to 4, only 4.
Why do you need more than 4?
You don't need more than 4. But the whole point is that they're rationing the bags.
4 is a good number.
Yeah, well, I got 4.
I would think a ration would be like 2.
No. I
4
got
is
4.
still a good number.
I saw something that like people are selling these bags online. 4 for $1,000.
No way.
I swear.
Oh.
Yes, even more than that. So I think I need to go get myself some more next week.
Where are they? What platform?
I think they're selling it on eBay. Yes, eBay still exists too. Yeah. Anyway, I have 4 bags, and if anyone wants to buy one off of me,
I still got mine for free though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Well, actually, now that I saw how much of a hot commodity this thing is, I feel like maybe I might have to charge you like a little something, but we'll discuss that offline.
Rude.
So anyway, these Trader Joe's tote bags are the new craze.
Yeah, I know, but it's not really new because it came out a little while ago.
No, but they came out last year, and then they were fully out of stock, and now they're back
come
in
back
stock.
here and there. Yeah. Yeah.
I should have brought it to show you guys, but you guys all know what it looks like because the girls
It's viral.
It's the girls that told me about it. They each have their own.
Yeah, I'm gonna use mine as my lunch bag.
Yeah, you better be careful. Someone might try to.
No.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone is using it for, a lunch bag. I don't really like these pastel colors all that much, though. I prefer like the. Yeah, but what happens when spring is over?
I mean, the colors it's pastel colors, but it can be used all year round. Some people like a baby blue.
Sure.
Yeah, I like baby blue.
Well, that's the one you're gonna get.
Well, I mean, I'll take any color because the pink is kind of.
I didn't even get pink.
Okay.
I didn't get pink and I didn't get purple because they look too not like what we would like.
Yeah.
So, you see, I knew that.
Yeah. They look kind of.
No, don't say that because people do like it. It's just not for you. So I got 2 of the blues and 2 of the greens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah, I figured. I wasn't about to call her at 8 o'clock in the morning to ask her what color she wanted. So I just had to make an executive decision.
With the whole person.
With the whole person. And it seems like I made the right one.
Well, I had an experience that I wanted to share as well, which is that this is the second time I have tried to donate blood with the New York City State Blood Bank. And they have said I'm not eligible to donate because my iron was low. But it's not low in my regular labs. It's only low because they take the best blood that you can get. And I think you need to have an iron level of 12.5 or higher. So my point here is that I recently watched the series The Pit, also viral, great show.
You watched it?
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't watched it. I heard people say that it's so like the closest show to real life that it's even given people flashbacks.
Well, yes, that's one thing, which I think I'm going to have to put a disclaimer out there as I say this, which is that the show is very triggering. It brings up a lot of PTSD. It's very triggering. So I don't even want to get into the show. But my point here is that I watched The Pit, and there's a scene in The Pit, just as a lot of these like ER shows have, where there's like some sort of crisis and they need people to donate blood. So in The Pit, they're like, one person goes, I can donate blood. What is it? I'm a universal donor, whichever one that is. And she decides to donate blood. And then they're like, okay, great. Everyone that can donate blood, let's just set up a blood drive right here in the middle of this emergency and just have people donate blood. And it's so great in the show. But in real life, that's not happening. Because when I went to donate blood, there was a screening questionnaire of 90 questions. And then that was the first time when I went and I couldn't do it. Second time I went, I think it was like 54 questions.
Couldn't just save the answers from the last?
That's what I thought, because it was like less than a month that I tried to donate it again. 54 questions. And then you have to go get medical clearance. That's where they do your blood pressure and they check your iron levels and, medical questions of that sort.
Those are not medical questions.
Well, I don't know, whatever. It's for
measurements?
No, it's for medical screening, they call it.
Yeah.
So the whole process took me half an hour. And then they said my iron wasn't low. So my point here is if you are watching any show and you think it's that easy to donate blood, that is not true. It is not easy to donate blood, but I am more determined than ever because I feel personally rejected. So I have to do this. I have to make it through.
Well,
At
how are you going to
least
get your
once.
iron up? You're going to get your
I
iron up just to go give someone else blood?
Yes, I am determined.
Oh.
I'm more determined now than I was before. And honestly, all of this started because I wanted to know my blood type and I didn't want to do a type and screen. And I was like, I'm going to do something good and donate blood so I can figure out my blood type.
Did you figure out what blood type you were?
No, because I never donated the blood.
Oh, well.
But then after
Good
talking
luck.
to other people, I was like, I've always wanted to donate blood. Always. Back in the day, I was underweight. Then I was anemic.
I was going to say, isn't there a weight requirement for that?
Yeah, I passed that. So
that's why I've never donated. Yes, I know there's a blood shortage. Yes, I know we are in desperate need of blood. Clearly not that desperate if they won't take her.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was like, I'm here trying to give you blood. Just take my blood. And the girl was like, you're going to be really cold. And I was like, okay, just take it. I'll be cold.
Well, not everyone is willing to sacrifice
cold
their comfort. Anyway, I've never tried to donate blood. I'm not going to try, to be honest. I'm like maybe on the borderline of the weight requirement.
All right. Well, that was my exciting thing for the week. But if you can donate blood, please. When we first started on, I think it was on Spotify, I did a poll to see what are some topics that people wanted us to discuss. And one of the topics were careers, which I found kind of surprising and interesting, but it's worth a shot. It is, I get it, because we are both very successful in our career, so people probably just want to know where this came from and how we got started.
I think that's a little bit bold to say we're very successful in our career. You don't think so?
No.
Okay. I think I'm happy with where I am in my career, but that's
you see, this brings up another topic that women, especially women of minority, they do not hold themselves to the standard that they should, because you've been a nurse for 10 years, you've been a nurse practitioner for how many years?
A little over 3 years.
Exactly. You are very young in your career. You're a published writer for medical journals. You recently got a promotion. Obviously, we're not talking about our exact job description here, but you recently got a promotion. You are taking on so many other endeavors. So yes, you are very successful in your career. That's what I said.
I think I have some accomplishments, but there's a lot more that I would like to do.
Yes, there is a lot more, but that doesn't diminish what you have done already.
Actually, someone did say to me recently that they feel like I'm successful in my career and they sort of look up to me, which was really sweet to hear.
Exactly.
That's not something that I often think about.
That's what I mean. That when you look back from where you started as like a new graduate nurse, I'm sure new graduate nurses are looking at you and saying, wow, she's so successful. I would like to be in her position one day or accomplish some of the things that she has accomplished. So yes, I am going to use the term that we are very successful in our career, because we are.
Okay.
And with that being said, I brought my mug.
I didn't bring my mug, although I have a t-shirt that says that. Her mug says Boss Lady. So she has a very interesting, such nice things about me. I'm going to say really great things about you too. So she has a really interesting career path that she took. She initially started in hospitality management as an undergrad. And she mentioned this before in the last episode, where she got her degree in hospitality management. She worked in many restaurants, many kitchens, doing catering and various other culinary activities. And then she joined a hospital kitchen where she got her foot in the door to the hospital system. And I don't know how long you were in that kitchen for.
I was there for 3 years, which were very long because I didn't like the atmosphere. It was very toxic. But I knew all along that I knew that job was the stepping stone for me just to get into the healthcare system. But I had not had any experience on the administration side, secretarial side, or anything medical related. So with that, I needed to start somewhere. So I used what I knew, which was in the kitchen. So that's how I got into the hospital system.
But I think that's a good tip number one. If you just need to get your foot in the door, take any job that you qualify for, whether it be housekeeping, in the kitchen, food service, transport, whatever the case is. Just get your foot in the door to get your name within the hospital system. And then after you've spent a year, you can always transfer to another department, something that you might be more interested in, which is, I know you stayed for 3 years, but eventually you transferred to another department.
Yeah.
Where?
Which that is one of the things I was just going to say is that when you go there and you understand that I'm here as a stepping stone to get my foot in the door, actually leave. Because what I did was I got comfortable, I made friends, I knew I wasn't happy with the actual job, but I was comfortable. And when you're comfortable, you become complacent. And that's where things started. I was not happy and it started to show. And in my mind, I was like, well, if I had left when I was supposed to, we wouldn't have got here. But everything happens in time. Since then, I took my first secretarial job. And from there, I was a secretary and I moved up all the way. So I went from secretary, medical secretary, office coordinator, and now I'm the manager. So I've held every administration role in that department and I'm still in that department.
I'm so proud of her. Just to think where she started in something totally different. And now she is the boss lady of an office and she is responsible for other people and just everything she does for the department. I think from what little I know, you really helped the department grow. You have coordinated events like fundraiser events. You do a lot of team building. She's just a great leader, which I always knew, but it's so reassuring to see you branch out in that way. And that makes me really proud.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's why I'm sure people want to hear us talk about careers. So one of the things I wanted to mention is for anyone that's out there and they're not sure what they want to do, or you're still deciding between careers. And like for me, I changed my career path when I was in my late teens. So it's never too late. If you're unhappy in your career, find something that you love and do that. Make it your passion and work in that. Because if you hate your job, you're not going to want to go and you're not going to excel. You're not going to do well. You're not going to give 110%. You're not going to want to do anything out of your job description.
Yeah. And that shows. That definitely shows. I think when you are doing something you love, you want to go above and beyond.
And I think that's why we are partly why we are where we are in our career, because we spend so much time doing things that are not generally in our job requirements, but we know it will make the team better. It helps our patients and it overall benefits the department. So we go the extra mile and that's why we get to where we are today. So I would suggest doing that for yourself as well.
I mean, I think everyone these days are talking about a growth mindset and wanting to grow, wanting to achieve more things, but all of that comes in time. You have to start off small. Come up with 1 or 2 goals that you want to achieve in a measurable amount of time. It can't just be like, oh, I will get there when I get there. No, try to have a goal, create an action plan of what you're going to do, and be prepared for there to be setbacks, because oftentimes there usually are, whether it be personal or professional. Something may be thrown your way and you have to be able to adapt, be flexible, regroup, but also keep yourself motivated in that. I think you switched career paths. I have been a nurse. I started my nursing career right out of school in 2011 and I remained at the bedside for 10 years and I stayed in the same ICU department, and some people look down on that. They feel like you said earlier, I became comfortable and complacent, but that actually wasn't the case. I truly love the department I work in. I love the people I work with. And I also am very grateful for the patients that I get to see and help and take care of. So it wasn't that I became complacent. It was just I truly enjoyed what I was doing. I did not want to leave. for sure. So I actually, when I became a nurse practitioner, I actually just continued on the same unit, just in a different role, now as a nurse practitioner. But it's great because it shows the amount of growth that you can have in one department if you truly love it. Of course, you can always change paths and try something new. Nothing is wrong with that. But if you love something, you don't have to say goodbye to it. It's okay to stay.
But with your position, even though you've been there for 10 years, you have never had the same night twice.
Oh, yeah.
Because your patients are constantly rotating, as opposed to someone that maybe has an office job or in the kitchen. I know in the kitchen, when I worked in the kitchen at various restaurants and locations, you're making the same thing on the menu every single day. So it becomes like Groundhog Day. You come in, you get your chocolate, you get your sugar, you start making brownies, then you start making cookies, and then you're just on this timetable. You do the same thing every day.
It's like, it's very monotonous.
It gets monotonous, it gets boring. So if you're in a job like that, it's very easy to become complacent. Right. But when you have a job that's as active and as versatile as your job, you're constantly seeing patients with different diagnoses, different conditions, that it always keeps it interesting.
And that being said, two people can have the same diagnosis. That does not mean they're going to look the same. It doesn't mean they're going to have the same symptoms. It doesn't mean that they're going to have the same treatment necessarily. Each patient is truly, truly different. Also, another aspect of it is that I'm working with various nurses every shift. It's not the same as you would be working in an office with the same office staffing. Yeah. So that keeps it really interesting as well. I think everyone brings something to the table.
Or don't.
Well, some people are a little bit more involved than others, but it's okay to stay where you are if it's something that you truly love.
Yes.
And one thing I wanted to mention too is that, at least for my job, starting as a nurse, I know a lot of people who want to be nurses, who have questions about being nurses. And something no one tells you, which was like shocking to me, is the hospital is open at night. And people have to work. And on holidays and on weekends. And you are going to have to work on those days.
Well, that's another thing. And this is something that I think will be a trend in a lot of our conversations, is what you see portrayed on TV is not what's always happening in the real world.
Well, yeah, I mean, the hospital is always open. There needs to be people working. More often than not, as a new grad nurse, you're going to be working night shift. Now, how long you stay on night shift is variable based on every single unit. However, it could be years if you can even tolerate being on night shift for that long. I stayed on night shift willingly for 10 years. Of course, I had the opportunity to move to days, but I particularly loved the night shift. I love the people I work with. And believe it or not, I feel like I had more opportunity to get to know my patients a little bit more. I got to spend a little bit more one-on-one time with them, which I really enjoyed. And for anyone that works in nursing, they know patients do not sleep at night. That is when they rise. That is when they are up and energetic and they want to do X, Y, and Z. And it is a very common misconception. They do not sleep at night. But that's something you have to think about, that nursing is a huge sacrifice.
But also, I would say any career is a sacrifice. I recently heard, maybe a year ago, I heard there was someone on YouTube. I saw this one video on YouTube. I don't know if she made multiple videos, but the whole video, she was pretty much crying, saying that she did not expect her life to be like this. She's never out in time for happy hour. How is she going to meet someone? She spends...
Wait, a nurse or just like
No, just like someone in general. I don't know what career she chose, but she said she lives in New York. Like, she just moved to New York. She's spending so much money on rent. She's never in her apartment. She spends like 45 minutes commuting in the morning, another 45 minutes at night. She has no quality of life.
Well, when you look at shows like Friends.
Exactly.
And that's my point. Shop all day long.
That's my point. That I think everyone needs to realize that what you see on TV is not part
No.
of the daily workforce in New York and in most places. I have my chosen schedule is 7 to 3:30 p.m. I never leave at 3:30 because there's always something going on. This week alone, multiple days I stayed until 5:30 and you don't get overtime for that. It's just what it is. I wake up at 5:30 every morning. Also, I'm not making it to happy hour and I'm traveling 40 minutes to
Maybe we
play.
should do like an unhappy hour for the time that you
I
actually
don't
get out.
know. But also too, and I think everyone knows after, well, it depends on which shift it is. Majority of the time, you just want to shower and go into bed.
That's not true. When
That's
you're
what I said.
young
It
in your
depends.
20s, you want to go out and
It depends.
explore every bit of the city. Like,
Yes.
I know for sure when I was in my 20s, I don't know how I did it, but I would work night shift. I would go out after work, you know, whatever place was open with my coworkers. We would have drinks and it was just mayhem. Someone invited me the other day to like come out after work. And I thought I was gonna, there is no way. The thought of it, doing that now, I will sleep next to the man on the street in the corner.
I also, especially when I worked in kitchens, that was a very, I want to say it was not a good time. It was not a healthy time for me, and partly because I worked 14 hours a day. I was on my feet. I did not eat proper meals. I wasn't sleeping well. And then to top it all off, when you do leave work at 11 p.m., 12 p.m. in the night, you want some sort of normalcy. But the sad reality is the only people that's around are your coworkers, and the only places that are open is a bar. So you end up drinking, and it creates even more bad habits than it should. So that also goes to show, like, on TV, that's not what they're showing on TV. Like, everyone, like, Friends is one of my favorite shows, and when you watch these shows, it's like, who's really seeing their friends every day? Who is having coffee and breakfast with their friends every day? What coffee shop is open at that time?
None.
And everyone looks great in the morning. Like, the reality is when we go to work in the morning, in my department, it's like, good morning, good morning. And then don't talk to anyone for like an hour until we actually need to have conversations, because no one is a morning person when you're that tired from the day before. You're having horrible days.
Yeah, I try to be a morning person because I feel like working in a group setting, you have to sort of bring your best energy, because someone's energy that's off can throw off the entire day, the entire shift. No one wants to be there then.
Yes.
And if I'm going to be working for 12 and a half hours on any particular day, then I want it to be as smooth as possible. I know there's going to be challenges. I know there's going to be moments throughout the day where I might feel frustrated, or I might feel super tired, or just over it. But if you keep a good mindset, that definitely shows, and your team feels a little bit more cohesive. So I think being a team player is number one. And I think this applies to all disciplines, but I had seen long ago for nursing that you should be the nurse that you want to work with, because, and it's like that with anything.
It's like that with anything, yeah. And
you know the person that you really enjoy working with for X, Y, and Z because they come to work on time, because they have a snack ready when they're hungry, so you don't have to be on the receiving end of it. They do their work. They're very mindful of other people. They keep a clean workspace. All those things, whatever it might be, whatever you value in terms of a positive workspace, you know that person that you want to work with. So be that person too. Understanding that everyone has a bad day.
Yeah, of course.
From time to time.
Of course. But when you can, try to be a team player and try to see how you can help others. And that goes for me as well. Even though I am the manager, I try to be the manager that I would want to have, because I remember when there were days I was struggling and my managers were nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the biggest reason that I do maybe 90% of the stuff that I do that's extracurricular, because I don't want to let my team down, and my team will almost never ask me for help, but that doesn't mean that they don't want it or need it. So part of it also is knowing your coworkers and knowing your team and seeing where how can you help? Because we're also in a society where people don't ask for help because they feel ashamed or they feel like they're going to be rejected, whatever the reason is. But having somebody just show up physically there and step in without you asking is a great help. And that's not only in work, that's also in life.
Yeah, but we also need to normalize asking for help.
Yes.
And I am 100% guilty of this. I never ask for help. I never ask for, and this is more, I feel like, actually it's both in my personal life and my professional life, if I'm being honest. We have to normalize that.
Yes.
Because without it, we grow to be resentful, we grow to be bitter, we burn out much easier. Of course, don't take advantage of people. There are people like that, certainly, but you should at least know who's there for you.
Yes, and
know
you should be
who
able to rely on people.
Your real coworkers are, who will show up for you when you need them. Hopefully, there's more than one. Hopefully, you work in an environment that is very supportive, very collaborative. There's good teamwork amongst everyone. Not everyone does, and I get that. But I think if you don't work in that environment, maybe you can
help to shift the environment.
Shift that culture.
Yes.
I know people are super resistant to change, but that doesn't.
But this
mean
is
it's
a positive
impossible.
change. This would be a good positive change that it is
really
accepted.
Stuck in their ways. Some people are really stuck, and however their culture is, they're going to accept it, whether it's a good one or a bad one. There's always going to be people resistant, but that doesn't mean
help.
Yeah. Some people don't want to be bothered. They want to come in and do their job and not worry about anybody else. You know that's true.
Yeah, and sometimes I am at fault for that as well, because I know I can get it done faster than if I have to spend time teaching you how to do it, and then I have to check to see if you did it right, and then possibly redo it. So in that time, if I need it done, I'm just going to say, you know what, I'll just do it myself, which is also a fault.
Yeah.
And you need to delegate and be able to share tasks. But these are all things that you would learn part of your career. Also, I want to mention that in America, and I'm only saying in America because this is the only place that I know. I don't know about what happens internationally. But in America, when we were in high school, and I graduated high school when I was 17. So when I was 15 is when I started looking at colleges and trying to decide my major, which I think is ridiculous that you're trusting a 15-year-old to choose their career for the rest of their life. Like, if you think of a 15-year-old right now, you see them on the train, you see them, and you're like, this little is going to pick a career. Like, no, you don't even know what you're doing. So we have to have some grace with that as well. And I would say if anyone is out there or knows someone that's out there that's in high school still deciding what they want to do, they're not sure, that's fine. I would say look into a trade school. They are many trade schools that have great professions. You can go to college if you would like and start with an associate, just get your foot out there, start experiencing other degrees and start experiencing other majors, doing your research, and see what you feel fits for you. By that point, you're probably in your early 20s and you'll have a better idea of what you're interested in. Do not feel that, and even still, if you are in college and you picked a major and you don't think it's going to work out for you, you can change your major. There's still a lot of time out there. There's plenty of options, just like I did. Fortunately for me, I did not have to get another degree. However, I think when we started our career, we were in the time between you can get a job with an associate's, but bachelor's would be better. And now we're in the phase of you can get a job with a bachelor's, but a master's would be better.
Right.
However,
I need to talk about this for sure.
Let me talk about it first.
No, I'm going to talk about it first.
No,
you've been talking for a long time.
I know.
You don't always need to get your master's, because a lot of people feel that because everyone else is doing it, that they themselves need to do it as well. And I tell people, do not enroll into graduate school unless you know that this is something that you 100% want to do, because it is a lot of work. It takes time. It affects your schedule, your sleep, everything, your work schedule, and it's not something you get overnight.
You're not going to make it to happy hour and have a work-life balance.
Probably not, because now you're working your job, going to school, plus whatever other personal responsibilities that you are responsible for. So, unless you know you're 100%, please do not feel pressured to go back to school. If it's something you're really interested in, you know it's something you want to do, then by all means, go for it and go for it fast. Don't sit on it. But, oh, do you know people say don't sleep on it now?
Yes, that's
okay.
old.
I didn't know that. No, so it's not don't sit on it, it's don't sleep on it.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to have a whole nother episode about the slang words that people are now using. But anyway, if you are not sure, read it out.
Planned to get my master's after I finished my bachelor's. I think at the time when I was doing my bachelor's,
Your master's in what?
I had said to myself I would do my master's right after, and then I said, no, I'm going to take a year off. At the time, I think I thought I would get my master's in business with the hopes of maybe opening a bakery or something one day. And I just never did it. And now I have no interest in going back to school. I don't like school.
We already established he
I
doesn't
don't
like to read.
I don't like to read. I don't like to write. I'm good with numbers, if anything. And I've always been good with numbers. But I like numbers because it's a right or wrong. It's no like open for interpretation type of thing. So I know I don't want to go back to school. Unfortunately, with the way things are going in the career force, I might have to, but I don't want to. I have no interest in doing it. So we'll see what happens.
You should do a certificate or something.
You just said.
I'm so pro school. I think you should always be learning. It doesn't have to be in a school setting. It could be various settings.
You just said if you don't want to go, don't go.
Oh.
I don't want to go.
Well, I want you to have a job.
I'm going to I want you to have a job.
I want you to have a job. So
I will have a job.
If you need to, please go back to school. But if you don't need to, then by all means, do whatever you feel is right for you.
Yeah. And there's so many resources out there for you to look up this information, meet with advisors, guidance counselors, people in the career. I remember when I was in college, we had like to shadow people, and we had to reach out to people that work in the industry and go interview them, shadow them, spend time with them to see if this is something that we're interested in. So definitely look at these options. And
when you are in that position, like I've done like a career day before where via Zoom, some college students had an opportunity to meet with me, sort of find out a little bit more about my career path, ask me questions, ask me what school was like, what is the job actually like. So when you do get into a position where it would be beneficial for someone else to help them decide what they want to do, try to be there as a resource or mentor, so you know that you are giving out very accurate information so that you don't end up with a coworker who feels like they're working in the pit, which is not real.
No, the pit is similar to real life.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still not real.
But it's still not real. It's very similar to real life. What she's trying to say is
There will be people who watch TV and think that that's what the career is going to be like. And without proper guidance and accurate information, they're going to be one of your coworkers.
Yes. So if you can one day help shape the future generation, go ahead. And also a good thing, I know in my department, when we are interviewing candidates, we offer them a shadow opportunity. And that is something that you can also do as an interviewee. If you are interviewing and you feel like you would like a chance to be on, because realistically, the manager that you're interviewing is going to paint a great picture. If you would like the opportunity to come in, meet the team, and shadow, and realistically, no one's going to say anything, but you could get a vibe when you're there. You can see if does this seem like a toxic work environment? Do I feel comfortable here? And then obviously it's not going to be 100% accurate, but it's a good place to see, because the last thing you want is to sign a contract and then you get there and you're like, oh my God, what did I do?
I don't know. I have feelings about this because working in any clinical situation, no day is going to look the same. You may come on a day where everything is beautiful, right? You know, there are patients that are so awake and alert and they're pleasant to talk to and take care of. And then you come on the job, your first day on orientation, and you feel like you're in actual hell.
Yes, but that's for clinical situations.
Oh yeah, well I'm talking about clinical
Outside a
situations.
clinical situation.
I think it's a little bit strange to ask for a shadow day before you accept a job. I know it is a possibility and that's great, but you need to understand going into it that not every day is going to look like this. Like a Friday is certainly not looking like a Monday.
Right.
So,
but in clinical, it's different.
It's
clinical,
different.
you know a little bit more what to expect because you've done hospital clinicals. Yeah. So you know, I mean, a hospital and a hospital, it's not that much different in layout. I mean, yeah. It depends on what hospitals you're going to. But I mean, in the sense of if you have a desk job, an office job, if you want to, it is an option out there to seek a shadow day, or I don't know what it would be called, but yes, those are options. Yeah. All right, I think.
No, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is the best career advice that you've ever heard? What's the worst career advice you've ever heard? Okay.
What's yours?
Well, you're not putting me on the spot then.
Okay, then we're done.
I would say the best advice is, well, I'm just going to give something because you couldn't think of anything. The best advice is to, very cliche, love what you do. And the worst advice is, do it for money. I'm not really sure.
I think my advice, which is not for career, but it's the only thing I could think of right now, is knowing when to leave is very important.
Oh yeah, leave on a high note.
Leave on a high note.
Leave on a high note.
And don't wait until you want to burn the place down before you leave.
Okay.
Leave on a high note. Leave on good terms with everyone. Yeah. And try to be happy in your day-to-day. And if you're not happy, find something that will make you happy, because we got a long way to go, and that I have to work another 30 years is just ridiculous to me. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So you better like what you're doing.
Yeah. And if you have any questions,
reach out to us.
Reach out to us. I'm happy to talk to future nurses. I'm happy to talk to future nurse practitioners.
That's it? That's all the people you want to talk to?
I mean, that's where my comfort is. I don't want to say expertise because I'm still learning too. I mean, I think that's where I can lend the most guidance.
Well, I can talk to everyone else.
Yeah, we'll share.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know your feedback. Let us know if you have any comments, and if you have any suggestions of how we can make our podcast channel everything better. We are all ears.
We have a YouTube channel.
We have a YouTube channel.
And a Spotify podcast.
A Spotify podcast.
And an Instagram
that
page.
I have yet to see because I don't have Instagram. So you know who's taking care of that? Her, the boss lady.
I can't. The ring light. Okay.
Bye, everyone.